Sensei です。Ryu Sensei の10分の日本語ようこそ。Thanks everybody for coming to see Ryu Sensei's 10-minute English. 皆様ありがとうございました。現在的天气很好。今日の天気はとても良いですね。It's suddenly become really hot in Japan. You can see the mountains and the temple behind me. Yes, that's just a black backdrop. Anyway, today I have a special guest. He's a young man from India, and he decided to try learning Japanese from watching anime. And we spoke once, and he speaks some basic Japanese really well. I was quite surprised. And so I'd like to introduce Suresh from India, and everybody give a big round of applause. こんにちは。
こんにちは。
おはようございます。今日はありがとうございました。
いえ、こちらこそありがとうございます。
はい。そしたらね、ちょっと質問したいんですけど、まずお名前お願いします。
私の名前はシレヤスニルです。高校3年生です。
高校3年です。ね、お国はどちらですか？
もう一度言いますか？すみません。
どこの国の方ですか？
インドです。
インドですね。
はい。
ね、何か日本のこと何が好きですか？
日本のことですね。ちょっと待って。すみません。はい。日本のこと、綺麗な映画ですと、綺麗な映画とか、アニメとか好きですよ。
うん。日本の食べ物好きですか？ラーメンとか。
食べたことないですから。
ないですか？
いえ、ないです。
はい。Okay, so let's switch to English. So before you and I were talking about how you learned Japanese and you didn't study the traditional way with textbooks. Can you tell me how you remembered to or learned to speak some Japanese?
Alright, so actually this is 2 years ago, and I was with my friends, and they were telling me to start watching anime, and I was like, okay, fine. And then I started with Naruto, and then like I saw these few words they were repeating. For example, wakarimashita, that means understood. So they come in two forms, yeah. One is the formal form and one is the informal form. So if you're talking to a senior something, it's like wakarimashita, and this kept on repeating. All right, so I took that, and then I practiced it. So if you speak it in the informal way, it will be like wakata. So you say that to a friend of yours or something. So
right,
words like that, and then you look at the repetition, and then you keep practicing it. That's what I did.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I really understand how that is. Before I came to Japan, I studied Japanese. But when I came here, language is broad, and I couldn't understand anything, even though I thought I was speaking well. But I had the TV on a lot, and I remember on the news they would always say Ginzai, ha 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 ha, Ginzai, ha 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 ha, and I had no idea what it meant, but I heard it so many times and I could say it, and then I just asked somebody, and they said, "Oh, Ginzai means now, at the present," and that's kind of usually in Japanese we'll say ima, something, but on the news they're a little more formal, and they say at present. And it just that I remember that word stayed with me because, like a child, they learn it, they hear it, they can say it, but they don't know what it means. So another experience is my favorite movie is Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon.
Okay.
Do you know Bruce Lee? You're
I do.
Younger, yeah. And I had the Japanese dub version here in Japan.
Okay.
And about once a week, I would put it in. I had no money. I couldn't go anywhere. So I would just watch this movie. And I knew all the lines already from the English version. So when I heard the Japanese version over and over, I learned all these new expressions.
Right.
You could say in Japanese from that movie. So watching movies and TV. And I think in America, young children often watch TV a lot and pick up stuff. So anime, and maybe you watch any dramas?
Well, I mean, yeah, I did watch a few dramas, but I'm not a big fan of dramas. I like action, I guess you could say. Yeah, so the thing is, I actually saw my cousin brother. He started learning Hindi when we were kids. We live in the southern part of India, so nobody speaks Hindi here. Everyone speaks Tamil and Malayalam. So I saw my cousin brother, and he learned Hindi by watching Doraemon, which actually comes in Hindi dubbed here. It is an anime. So I met him, and then he's speaking fluent Hindi, and I was surprised. So I was like, all right, you know what? I can do this with other languages too.
Right.
So I thought I'll try it out with Japanese, and that's how it came. I can't speak fluently, but I can speak up to a certain extent.
Right. Well, and I mean, I'm all about languages, not studying. It's exercise.
Exactly. Yes.
That's my whole concept. Studying a little grammar is good so you can practice, but at the end, it's just saying it over and over till your lips remember it, and you don't have to think about it. And be honest, when I came to Japan, I started teaching English. I had no idea about English grammar, and it was after 5 to 10 years of explaining stuff and looking in grammar books, I understood the grammar, but I could speak English fluently.
All right.
However, in Japan, it's all, and I think a lot of countries, it's all about the grammar, subject, verb, object, particles, this and that. Who cares? Get an expression, say it 20 times. And when you finally say it and the other person understands it, then you're speaking the language. So,
yeah. Well,
I'm going to learn Yiddish. Somebody said I'm going to learn Yiddish. Yeah. Good luck. So, what other languages do you speak?
Well, I speak 6 languages in total.
Okay.
I speak English, Hindi, Malayalam, Tamil, Marathi, and a little bit of Japanese, I guess. Yeah.
So, is there a language you want to study next?
Well, I'm thinking about learning Swedish and maybe Chinese.
Wow. Why Swedish?
Well, I was looking at opportunities abroad for university. So, and Sweden is a very viable option for me. So I was thinking if I could learn Swedish before I go, that's gonna help me a lot.
Oh, well, of course, yeah. I think you'll find Swedish, a lot of words look similar to English.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it.
I've seen a little. I've seen it sometimes on TV and seen written Swedish, and it looks like English with more letters.
Oh, okay.
So like maybe welcome has 2 Ks or something.
Yeah, but I think the pronunciation is a little different as it is with every language.
Yes, of course, different, and then completely different words. But that's the Chinese. Chinese is a pretty good challenge.
I mean, see, the thing is, a lot of people do not understand what Chinese and Japanese is, and they make fun of it and they imitate as if they say something like "ching chong, ching chong." I mean, you're literally making fun of the language. But then, see, the thing is, these languages you can only you can understand the beauty of it when you understand the meaning. So, for example, I did not know how beautiful Japanese was, but then the words, it's so soft, I guess. It's awesome. It's beautiful.
Right. And what you just said made me think of something. I've lived in Japan for 33 years, and I met a lot of guys like me. They married a Japanese wife. And they're usually teaching English, or they might be in some other industry, and they're here for 10 years, and they don't speak any Japanese.
Right.
And then I hear them complain about why do Japanese people do this or why do they do that? And I was a bit like that at first, but I spent all my holidays at my wife's family's house, and we pretty much speak Japanese at home, and I watch Japanese TV. The more I understood the culture, the more I understood why they say things, the language is the way it is.
All right.
And why their habits are, why they do certain things, where I saw it from an American perspective, that's strange. But later, as I got to know the language more, I got to understand the culture more, and vice versa. And I know it's a little, wishy-washy, and that sounds like stupid stuff, but it's true. So watching those TV programs will help you incorporate the culture.
It's about correlating it. So if you're watching anime, or if you're watching any show at all in Japanese, and maybe any language, and if you see subtitles, what you have to do is you have to correlate the words that come up to what he's saying. So suppose, like I said earlier about the understood example, so that keeps on repeating, and then you get that in your mind, and then you look at the meaning. Oh, so this is what it means. All right, I'm going to try saying it, and then you try pronouncing it, and then you get a hang of it. That's how it is.
Right, and it's endless.
Exactly.
Even your own language. Even in English today, I hear words I didn't know, but there's new words with the technology and stuff being born. Or there's a word I've known for years, but I really, when somebody asks, what does it mean? I thought about it. I don't really know. I know how to use it kind of in a sentence, but if you wanted a definition, so language is just endless, but it's very interesting. And recently I've met a lot of different people who speak different languages, and polyglot is really big now, right? Being able to speak several languages. And I met the man recently, and I spoke Chinese, and I think he was British. Right. And he started shouting back something in Chinese, but I think it was Cantonese, which I don't understand at all. Then he started laughing and said, "I speak 16 languages, ha ha ha," and then cut me off. Little crazy person. So maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. So anybody out there have questions about Japanese language? I see a bunch of comments here. What about the food? How's the food? The food is good. 16 languages. Japanese food is deep and is broad, and it's not just sushi and ramen. There are so many kinds of foods, and if you go to a really nice place, meaning expensive, it doesn't take second place to French food. It's pretty amazing. You can have a really nice gastronomical experience with Japanese food, the way they hint it with different types of herbs or seasonings. And I really, if you're coming to Japan, try to get around to many different types of foods, restaurants and stuff like that. So, okay, well, I think we'll just wrap it up here then. So, Shiraz, thank you so much today for coming.
Thank you so much for having me here.
It was great to meet you and talk to you about languages and about the other stuff. And everybody, if you subscribe to the channel, and we'll be doing a live stream maybe next week as well, and maybe more often. And I might be doing some to teach. English, but I will explain it in Japanese. So if you're interested in Japanese, then you can hear me talk about English expressions, but it's geared towards Japanese people, and it'll be all explained in Japanese. So that would be a great practice for people learning Japanese, to hear me talk about English expressions in Japanese. So if you're interested in that, watch those two. All right. So thanks again, Shiraz.
Thank you so much.
Everybody have a good day. Sayonara.
Sayonara.